This is my friend Andy May, and he's going to talk with us today on the Merchants and Planters Bank segment, but we're not going to talk about Merchants and Planters Bank. We're going to talk about M&P Insurance and Investment. Andy May, good to see you, my friend.
Good morning.
Former Newport Greyhound football player, and I love talking to Greyhound football players. 69, was that correct? What was your number?
Number 69.
Pretty good, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'm pretty
How
good.
you remember that?
I'm just good. I'm just good.
That way, if I flipped over, I was still number 69.
You sure were, weren't you?
Yeah,
You sure were.
That on my head.
We were visiting with Philip Brown before we came in, another Greyhound football player, and just nice to have guys that elected to stay in the community or come back to our community and do great things for our community, just like you're doing. And,
I know several that are coming back now.
Is that right? Good deal. Good deal. Well, we want to talk a little bit about some health insurance changes that are happening statewide or fixing to happen statewide. You've got all the information, and let's just get right at the subject. Changes coming. Tell us about some of these changes.
This is the most recent information. Now, this is all subject to change because the state of Arkansas has to file. In fact, I think the filing day was today, actually. They have to file, and it has to be approved by CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
And we're filming the end of June, 1st of July.
Yeah. So they should have that determination back by mid-September. Okay. So if everything goes through, then this will be the way it's going to be.
Okay.
Basically, anyone right now that has a ACA compliant plan, aka Obamacare. I mean, that's a big common term that everybody uses. If you have a plan through the state of Arkansas, through the Department of Health and Human Services, there will be some changes. Okay. A lot of people that currently are receiving that plan at a zero cost will now have to pay a monthly premium, a monthly amount to be able to have the insurance. Okay. How we can help with that is basically most of it should be able to be done with just a phone call. Okay. You call me, we can go on the system, we can look everybody up, see where they are, and then I can help guide you into what you should do, give you your options. Okay. And you can make your decision based on that.
So the state of Arkansas is simply saying that we're going to change, and obviously you say everybody that's got it, quote, not free, but there's no cost to them. Right. There's going to be a premium now.
Not for everyone, but
for a lot of folks.
Right now there's around 300,000 people in Arkansas that are enrolled in a plan like this. Right now, it's either called the Healthcare Independence Program or the private option. That is the two common terms. It's actually Medicaid expansion. The state of Arkansas, when they decided to expand Medicaid, they didn't want to put 300,000 more people into the Medicaid system because it was going to put a big financial burden on Medicaid, and they were going to be way underserved. So Arkansas was actually a pioneer in developing this Healthcare Independence Program, also known as a private option. Kind of set a precedent for states all over the nation. I mean, we were the first to do it, and our legislatures need to be commended for doing that. It's actually worked out really good.
Well, talk about that a little bit. Because you say private option, and you hear that term a lot. What exactly does that mean, private option?
Okay, so what that means is you actually are eligible for Medicaid based on your household income and the size of your family. But Arkansas didn't want to put you on Medicaid because it was going to cripple the Medicaid system, and you wouldn't be able to get access to the care that you needed because, I mean, there's so many different, stipulations on the Medicaid thing. Right. So the legislature said that they're going to take the money that the federal government's giving them for Medicaid expansion, and they're buying private insurance plans for people. Okay. Now, the private option term that comes into that, well, there's 3 companies in the state of Arkansas, actually 4 this year. There'll be 3 next year. One of them's getting out, but there are 3 companies that offer a plan. Okay, you have the option to choose one of those 3 companies. Okay, there's actually 4 different plans among those 3 companies. Right, I get you. That's your option. That's your private option. Okay. The state pays the insurance premium directly to the insurance carrier, to that company. Okay. And it has been that if you qualified for that type of program, you didn't have a monthly premium to pay, but you had for some people that have a co-payment if they went to the doctor, they'd pay $8. If it's a specialist, it was $10. They go to the pharmacy, they pick up medication, it's $4 or $8. Right. That original plan was done back in 2014.
Okay.
And it started January 1st of 2014, and they only approved it through the end of 2016.
Okay.
And that was when Mike Beebe was governor. Well, when Asa Hutchinson gets elected, Democrat, Republican, he realized that we couldn't just flip the switch and say, okay, 300,000 Arkansans aren't going to have health insurance, because not only would it have crippled the citizens, the hospitals and the doctors that are getting compensation now that they have never got before.
Right.
Because a lot of people would go in the emergency room, rack up a big bill, couldn't pay it, wouldn't pay it, whatever. So the hospital were having to write all that off. Doctors were writing it off.
Yeah.
So now they're getting compensation. If you'll notice, even here in Newport, we've got stuff popping up everywhere. Right. More doctors' offices. We've got representation from NEA. We've got White River. Now they're building another clinic. We've got St. Bernard's has got, and we got Unity. It's
the staple being Unity.
It's a big deal,
Absolutely.
Yeah, Unity definitely is our number one. But it's everybody's wanting a piece of the pie. So,
absolutely.
Because they now can get paid.
Sure.
They couldn't get paid before.
Absolutely.
So the governor, legislators, they figured out, we can't just say, look, we're not going to do this anymore.
Sure.
We've got to come up with something.
Sure.
And there was a lot of discussion, and meetings and meetings and meetings in Little Rock, and they voted no and voted no and voted yes. They finally come to agreement, and they came up with this program. It's called Arkansas Works.
Okay.
And I'm not going to go into detail about Arkansas Works because it's forever. But basically, if you are eligible for this plan right now, the private option healthcare independence program, you should still be eligible for Arkansas Works, but you may have to pay a premium based on your income, and it can be as much as 2% of your household income.
Okay.
That's the goal. And a lot of people, and I've written about 500 of these, so since it all started.
Right.
And a lot of people come to me and they say, we don't mind to pay a premium. We want to pay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But they couldn't because there wasn't a way to do it. But now there will be a way that you can do that.
Well, I think the most important thing here in the message that obviously we're trying to get across is that change is coming. Not only the change is coming, but you're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to have a lot of questions. And I've always said if you're dealing with the government and it's a government organization, you don't get to sit down and really visit with the government.
Right.
You can sit down and visit with Andy May.
That's right.
You can sit down and get your questions answered, and there are always lots of questions. And it's always nice to be able to sit down and visit with some experts. And so
I hate to call myself an expert, David, but I'm probably the closest thing that you can find.
You are an expert in this field.
Yeah.
But because you know more than any of us know.
Right.
Yeah, any of us know.
And I have worked hard to do it, to get there.
A lot of training. How do we get in touch with you? What do we have to do if we have questions about this change coming up?
870-523-6771. That's our number at the office.
Right.
And now we're at 833 Malcolm right now, but we are moving. We have purchased a building on the corner of Laurel and Front Street, which is right across the street from the post office.
Right.
Was the years ago the Firestone building, and then it was Mid-South Vending, and anyway, M&P Insurance has purchased that building. We've made about a little over $600,000 capital investment, and it's getting really close. We should be in there by hopefully mid-August, 1st September at the latest. So
good deal. Good deal.
Well, we're excited about we're excited about our new location. Our current location, nobody really has. There's a few people that have offices, but we're kind of just stuck out in the middle. Everybody's going to have their own office. It's going to be
private,
up to date with the latest technology. We've got a lot of a lot of exciting things coming with that deal. So
If you have any questions and you need to talk to Andy, call him at that number 6771.
523-6771.
And he'll answer or try to answer. He'll get you an answer to any of those questions that you might have when it comes to health care. My friend, it's always my pleasure to get to see you.
You bet.
And I talked with Andy about, I always say this, I always ask him about his playing weight. He says he's right at his high school playing weight, and that's good.
I'm gonna leave you one little thing here. You know, if your car breaks down, do you take it to your dentist or do you go to somebody that knows how to work on cars?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, you know, if you need help with health insurance, come see an insurance agent.
That's right.
Don't go talk to somebody that's just out there. So,
Andy May, M&P Insurance and Investments, Newport, Arkansas. And now let's continue on with more of the Business Spotlight.